Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Kitchen Conversations. This is one of our favorite parts of the week where we just get to invite you into our home, to our kitchen, and into our conversations. Some of the things that we've been kind of talking about over this past weekend. One of those things that we have been talking about is kind of just knowing our worth and our value as individuals. And then what does that look like in our relationships, not just with a spouse, but with those who are in our family or our closest friends? How does that look? What does that look like, I guess I'm saying?
Man, that's so, knowing your worth.
Knowing your worth in any relationship, I think, is important, you know? And for me, I think one of the things that I've been thinking about these last couple of days is like just reminding myself and thinking about others, saying that, you know, you are worth the same love that you extend to others. Sometimes we're in lopsided relationships, lopsided friendships. It could even be lopsided in our marriages sometimes. But, you know, just having that assurance and knowing that I am worthy to be loved in the same way that I extend to those that I love around me.
Oh man, you got to come to a place of acceptance and awareness of. First of all, you got to love yourself.
There's where it starts.
Like I think sometimes we make the mistake of wanting people to love us.
Yeah.
But we haven't really solved the I am okay with me thing first.
How do we get there?
I don't think it's a journey. It's not a
like
destination.
It's not a seven.
It literally, I think coming to the fact that, first of all, when God says that, you know, you are like, what is it, fearfully and wonderfully made.
Yeah.
I have come to the realization that it doesn't matter what my flaws are, because I can focus on all of that.
Yeah.
But I have to say, in the intentionality of God, without being too spiritual, that he didn't make a mistake whenever he made me. Now, my mom or my dad might have said, well, boy, we wasn't expecting you to come. My mom and dad didn't say that, but some of us, that's their story.
Yeah.
But we were not an accident. We were intentional. And I just come to the place of, and predestined.
Yeah.
I think that, you know, I've come to the place of I'm okay with me. Now, does that mean I don't have to work on my issues and my crap? Listen, no, I have to really face myself, face my own crap. But at the end of the day, I have to be okay with me.
We don't have
Self-love is the beginning of all things.
Yeah, and we don't have to be perfect to receive love.
No.
Like, there is this thing called unconditional love.
You would never be loved if you had to be perfect to get loved.
This is true. I'm not gonna fight him on that.
Nah.
But that's the great thing about understanding God and our relationship with our Father and how he loves us unconditionally. He knows us on our best day and he still loves us on our worst day. And I think the tension in our relationships here on earth with one another is, can you love me on my best day and can you still love me on my worst day?
Nah, not so much. Again, whatever you didn't get from your natural father or from your natural mother, just as humans, we have a proclivity to try to seek out those things in other forms in our other relationships. So as a dude, if I didn't get the affirmation of my father, I will grow up and go through life, have a tendency to always try to prove myself to get that affirmation. At some point, you've got to come to a place where you say, okay, my dad might have never told me, I'm proud of you, I love you, you are amazing. But you have to come to this point where you can look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know what? You knocked that presentation out of the park today. You know what? I'm proud of you. You are good with me, Chris Baker. You are okay with me. I think it has to start there, because if it doesn't, you're going to be trying to make people pay that bill, and it's not their bill to pay. I remember when we were getting we was newly married, and I think I shared this story. We were sitting at the table one day, and you just said, you know, you broke down and started crying. It was like, I'm not happy.
There's a backstory there, guys. We're not going to go into it today. I didn't just break down and start crying, but yes, I did have a moment where I was like, I was being vulnerable and telling you, I'm not happy.
Yeah. And so here's the thing. As a husband, I'm going to try to ask these questions. Hey, what's wrong? What can I do? What do I need to fix? I think that's just being responsible. But at the end of the day, Her happiness is something that I'm playing a part in, but ultimately it's not my sole responsibility.
Not your sole responsibility.
Again, I put that word in there for a reason.
Yeah.
It's not my sole responsibility to be completely responsible for her happiness. That's not totally my bill to pay. And I think it's unfair that when we enter into relationships that we want our spouse or our friend to pay these bills to cover these deficits that we ultimately have in ourselves. And here's the thing that we're also bad about. Whenever we have these deficits, whenever we're feeling these things, most of us don't know how to articulate it properly. So what we sometimes do is we pack it.
It's weird.
We pack it and we don't say anything about it. We just don't, we let it, and it builds this thing called resentment. And I'm gonna tell you this, resentment and bitterness are the enemies to intimacy. And intimacy is not just about a man and a woman. It is literally closeness. It is that bond. It is that thing that is that connection. And where there's resentment, where there's bitterness, it's going to always try to build a wedge in between that. And a lot of times it would affect your ability to connect.
That's so good. But sometimes too, we not only not know how to express and convey some of our needs to whoever we're in relationship or whatever the relationship is, right? It's not limited to marriage. Sometimes we even ignore our own needs. So before we can convey it in a emotionally intelligent way, right? So that it's safe for all of us to have this conversation. Sometimes we're just not just oblivious, but we ignore what our own needs are. So we can't even verbalize it because we're not actually even taking into account and trying to dial down to what are some of the things that I actually need from the other people who I'm in relationship with.
That's awareness though.
Yeah.
And you would think it would be easy, but it is sometimes it's difficult, especially I call it, some people have the martyr complex. You know what a martyr is, right? It's like the person that I'm going to take one for the team. I'm going to die for the team. But some people have this where it's always like, man, if I don't do it, it ain't gonna get done. And you know what? I got to be the person that's there for Susan because, Susan always need me. And it's always that sad story. And I have a friend like that. And sometimes I just want to be like, yo, I mean, does that do it for you? Do you have this need to feel needed? Is that the thing that kind of like strokes your ego and make you feel enough? Like really, you kind of watch those types of things. But I love that, having that awareness to say, this is what I need. And so sometimes if I do have that martyr complex, I have to say, okay.
Have you expressed? Have you shared? Sometimes if I've ran into this a few times in life, and if we're not willing to take the time to really investigate what it is that we're feeling and then verbalize it in a safe way, in a safe place, we have a tendency to resent others who ask for what they need.
Oh man.
That's a mouthful,
resent
right?
Others because
you have the nerve to ask for what you need, but I haven't yet found the way to vocalize what it is that I'm feeling and to ask for what I need. So I resent you for even bringing up what you need, all because I haven't thought through and investigated and reflected
and been able to articulate
and find a way to articulate the things that I need in a relationship.
Yeah, and there are healthy ways to do it. And again, we always tell you, we hadn't mastered this. This is something that is a work in progress. Yes. But this last statement is big, and it's in every relationship. You can kind of harbor that, and it's just something that I'm constantly working on. By nature, I'm not I don't look for a fight. Now, if you bring the fight to me, we'll fight. But I'm not one that's just out there just.
Well, not always.
You
said that kind of cocky, but that's not the case. You're more of a peacemaker.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't look for a fight. Okay, and I never look for the fight.
If I bring the fight to you, you ready to fight? He don't mean it.
We're about to end this kitchen conversation real quick because we're about to fight right here, y'all. About to fight. No, but being able to say, I'm not going to stuff this. And this is something I want to share with my brothers, man.
Man, that's good.
Some of us, we'll be like, man, listen, I just don't want to hear them out.
Yeah, for the sake of peace.
I don't want to hear them out. I'm just going to act like it doesn't exist. And I'm going to tell you, It's like sweeping something under the rug. Or I'm gonna tell you what it is. It's like everybody's got this closet in their house where you keep, anytime company comes over, it's the closet where you dump everything in. You put coats, it's that closet, the junk closet.
Don't act like you don't have one of those.
Everybody has those, right?
We all have one of those.
Here's the thing. When you stuff stuff, it's literally like you keep putting it in that closet and like, I'm gonna get it out. Most of the time you really don't. So them shoes been in there for like 6 years. But one day, all it takes is one wrong word, one wrong moment, and everything that you've been stuffing in that closet, it's like whenever you open that door, it
throws up on you.
It throws up on you. And like, that is something that I'm constantly having to say on a daily basis, to say one thing I will not harbor is resentment. If there's something that I'm feeling, if there's something that I need to share, I am going to share it. Now, my desire is to find the best way to communicate it.
Yes.
But one thing that I feel like it is imperative, it is paramount if you're going to have a healthy relationship, is you have to release resentment.
Can I say one other thing I think I want to add to that is, it's not just paramount to make sure that you share it, but I also want to say, be careful not to hold things longer than you have to. Now, the Bible tells us, like, don't let the sun go down on anger, on your wrath.
It went down last night on wrath.
Not last night, but there have been nights, definitely, 100%, that we let that good old sun go down on our wrath. We get into bed and we both turn different ways. I dare you to put your foot on me.
I put my goggles on, my Oculus goggles on.
I don't care how cold your feet are. Don't you put them on my thighs.
I can't believe you said thighs on this here recording.
You do, or he actually puts them right under my knee.
Too much information. So what were you saying?
There's heat there under my knees. But what I'm saying is, don't hold on to things longer than you need to. Now, there are times where you need to, like, something happens, you actually need to press pause. And for the sake of, having good conversation, constructive conversation, you may need to stop and take a break and just think and have some me time to reflect and think through what is the best way to approach.
That's just being
I'm
smart.
not saying don't do that. Definitely do that if it calls for that. What I'm saying is, don't wait 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 and days or 9 years to have the conversations that you need to have.
Yeah.
It's best to deal with something as it happens, rather than, it's like you being out of town and one of my kids doing something wrong and me saying, your dad's gonna whoop you when he gets home. 12 days later, when he comes back from Europe, I feel like that's a little unfair, right? Does that make sense?
It does.
So it's take a few minutes to process, how do I need to come back to the table? What is the language that I want to use that will be most effective for me to communicate with the person that I'm having conflict with? But do not hold it in. As Chris said, do not stuff it. Do not use it to pad a file so that when they do one other thing wrong, you can explode like the closet does, right? Like you gave us that great example. Everything comes flying out of the closet. You're very smart. That's super unfair to the people that you're in relationship with. So the responsible thing to do, and as we grow and we mature and work out tension in our relationships, that will always be there. You won't avoid it, but it's there for us to work through. And I do believe at the end of the day, it helps us to be stronger individuals, and it strengthens our relationships.
Yeah. And I just want to debunk the myth. If you're looking for a tension-free, a conflict-free relationship,
you better wait till heaven.
No, you're gonna
it's not gonna happen on earth.
You're good right by yourself.
Yeah,
that's why. Because when you are by yourself, you don't have conflict with yourself.
Yeah, it's very rare that I disagree with me.
Yeah, very rare. And so, but when you are in a relationship with someone, it is the price you pay.
Yeah.
But it's a price worth paying. And at the end of the day, you are worth a healthy relationship.
Yes.
Like, you're worth that.
Yes.
I love me too much to be in anything dysfunctional.
Yeah.
Okay? I know that I am worth a healthy relationship. So I will work on me, and I will pray and hope and pray that the person that I'm in a relationship with has the wherewithal to work on themselves. So guys, hopefully there's something we shared tonight that you guys can utilize, you can use. Again, we are a work in progress. You can be doing so much with your time, but the fact that you choose to share it with us is something that we love and we appreciate. Love you guys. Stay safe.
See you next time.
Peace out.